What's up, rock stars in the Burnout to Badass Facebook group? How are you guys doing? Sorry for the short delay there. We had some technical issues going on, and we are now live. And I want to say, you guys, we're going to be really, really pumped today about the episode that we have for you because we're actually going to get deep into how to get 45 days of freedom without sacrificing your career and marriage. And so the reason this is such an exciting episode is because we're going to give you not only the one thing that you can do right now, but also the process on how to do it. So stay tuned, guys. It's going to be really exciting. But first, I want to introduce to you the founder of Move Think Smile, the ever most beautiful Elia Fosheron. Elia, what's going on, man?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a great week. I've really enjoyed connecting with some of you in the group. It's been awesome. And I can't wait to kick this topic off.
Yes, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, before we get deep down into it, what we're talking about today is just a tip of the iceberg from a brand new training workshop that Elia put together. And if you look up in the description, there's a link right there. And after this live, you guys can go in there and you can watch it. It's roughly 45 to 50 minutes long or so, but it goes into deep detail about a lot of the things that we're talking about today. It gives you the exact 5-step strategy to get that freedom that you're looking for, to get out of the office while becoming a superhero at home and work. I think you're going to really love it. We've put a lot of energy into this. It's really amazing. And by the way, my name is Adam Von Ens, and I'm the co-founder of Move Think Smile. And Elia, let's get into this. Let's get started.
Yeah, so we're going to start with, again, just reminding everyone the general definition of burnout. We always think this is important because burnout can be such kind of like an amoebic thing. And it's important for everybody to understand that, the results of burnout can be mixed for people. And this is where it's important, too, that you kind of understand that. Because we have a lot of people that say, well, I don't know if I'm burnt out, or, well, am I or am I not? Or somebody will say, hey, I think you're struggling with burnout. And they're like, that's the first time I've ever heard of that. What does that mean? So it's really important to understand, for some people, it is a mix of anxiety, physical symptoms, tons of visits to the doctor's office, fatigue.
Well, yeah,
for other people.
Think about it. All right. So like, for instance, for Elia, during burnout, it was extreme anxiety, just absolutely worried about everything that was going on. It was extreme overwhelm. It was fatigue, but in a way that knocked her energy down to where she couldn't carry a cup of water from the kitchen to the couch. For me, It was anger. I was just pissed off, right? Mm-hmm. And my physical symptoms were I couldn't sleep. Like I was wired all the time. And of course, doing that, my mental fatigue just went to crap, and I couldn't connect with Ellie. I couldn't connect with my kids. I couldn't connect, for some other, I had weight gain. Ellie had weight loss. So the thing is here is like, and for some people, it's depression with overwhelm, and they have stomach problems. Or for another person, it's regret and resentment coupled with hair loss and nausea. And then for some other people, it's headaches so bad that they get blurry vision and they can't drive a car. So burnout is a mix of things, and it's different for every person. And this is why even the Mayo Clinic, right? Even the Mayo Clinic recognizes burnout as an epidemic, especially here in America. But they can't figure out how to fix it. They can't list it as a medical condition because it's a mix of medical conditions, right? It's not like, oh, I've got a bump on my shoulder, so let's cut that off. Or I've got something weird going on over here. Here, take a pill for that. It doesn't work like that for this. That's why we're here. And that's why this episode is so important.
Yeah, and it's really important, too, to understand part of the complexity of this is that burnout is chronic high levels of stress over a long period of time. And you're going to hear me say this over and over because I think it's a really important distinction. This isn't just about having a stressful week or a couple weeks or maybe even a stressful month. This is months on end of high levels of stress, which are really then degrading your physical and mental health. And that's why it's so tricky, because it does happen over time.
Right. So I think one thing, I love what Elia says. She says, you can always make more money, but you can never make more time. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Elia, give me some more on that one.
Well, I think we've all kind of heard this before, but it's just really reminding us of what's, most important, especially with burnout. These are, people that are highly driven, highly passionate about what they do.
High
They work a
achievers.
lot. Yeah, high achievers. They work a lot. And, again, it's important we start chasing after this accomplishment. We start chasing after maybe money. We start chasing after status. And, we forget what's really important in the experiences that we want to be having. So, we're going to kick this off as we talk about this topic with really understanding that it's about getting your priorities straight if you want to get the free time that you want.
Right. So I guess the first question they need to ask themselves are, where are you headed?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where are you headed? So burnout's a mix of things, and most people completely ignore it. That's why 80% of doctor visits are due to stress. That's why our divorce rate is 40% due to stress. That's why, what's the stat you were saying from Harvard and Stanford?
30, they're saying that you can lose up to 33 years due to burnout and stress, which is
33 years of what?
Of your life.
Of your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So put that into perspective. So if
Yeah.
if the lifespan is 90, which is, I think we can agree that's a good number to go with, right? We'd be happy if we made it that far.
That's
That
pretty
means,
high, yeah.
and most of the people in this group are in their 40s or above, and maybe some are approaching 40. That means 57 is when you can start. All right, when's it happening? If you're going to deal with burnout from now until then, right?
Yeah.
Now the good news is that it can be reversed, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But right now you've got to ask where you're headed, because the World Health Organization is showing that one of three things is happening when people ignore burnout. And what are those?
So the first thing is they're headed to the doctors because they've got physical illness or anxiety, kind of mental stuff going on. The second thing is career loss or business loss. There's a lot of businesses that close down because the stress is it's too much for them. Or worse, people's work productivity and engagement is so low that they get fired. Or they have to take a leave of absence because of the physical and mental stress that's going on with them. Mm-hmm. Or number three, it ends up in divorce. The stress of all of that on a relationship is insanely difficult and insanely high.
Right. And so the stats are showing that at least one, and in most cases, two of these happen, and sometimes all three. And so you've got to understand that burnout, total burnout is when all three happen, right? For sure. Mm-hmm. But burnout is a process of decay. So you got to ask yourself, if I don't fix this, where am I headed? Where am I headed first? Then where am I headed next? And finally, where am I headed? Sometimes the divorce happens before the doctors, right? Or sometimes the career loss happens, and then the divorce happens in the doctors. Or sometimes the doctors happens, and it's a mix for everybody, right? But the term is burnout.
And talk about a tremendous high level of stress already stacked on top of a lot of stress to go through divorce and the illness and job loss or business loss. And, guys, this is where it's just so important that you understand that you're worth it and you deserve to really get this handled, because, stress is going to take you down. It's just a matter of when.
But you can stop that.
Yes,
right?
It's important to stop it. Yeah.
So it's not all doom and gloom. You can stop it. We're going to get into that in a minute, but we do need to pound some of this stuff in there, because these are the realities. These are the stakes. These are the consequences. And this is what's literally happening all over America and a lot of places and first world countries. And it's become the status quo. So we're just frigging ignoring it. And it's bullshit. We don't have to live like this. Right? So I want you to ask right now, the next question I'll ask is, how many hours are you losing trying to manage stress? Elia, give us the formula here.
Yeah. So on average, it's 3 to 5 hours. So if you're on the low end, 3 hours, that actually equals 1,080 hours a year, or 45 straight days that burnout is taking from you. That's an insane number. Okay, this is really, really important you understand this, because it's so easy to get swept away in this idea that it's not that bad, or having to manage your stress for an hour or two a day. Well, that's just how things are. And I get it. Like, modern society, like it's not easy. We have so much being thrown at us, so
Yep.
many things that we're trying to figure out how to deal with that we've never had to deal with before. In
Right.
particular, just all the decisions and the things that we need to be good at to be able to navigate. So
Exactly. So here's a formula. So
yep.
look at your daily hours. So take the average over a week, right? Take the average of the week. The time that you spend doing frivolous crap, frivolous, or the time you spend putting out fires or taking care of other people, the time you spend, those hours, you're like, I can't believe I just spent an hour doing that, right? So
Yeah.
it could be you're going to get a massage because you've got body aches all the time, which is because of stress. Or you're spending a couple hours a week, researching supplements to try and help you get some energy, right? You're Googling all over the place. How do I stay awake without caffeine?
Yeah.
Or the time that you're spending, just coping and managing it all, or the time that you're spending not being as productive as you could, because a lot of times what we're seeing is what could take 1 hour is now taking people 4 more. So take the average over a week, daily hours, which we see the clients who come to us, we work with, normally it's at least 3 hours at the minimum, and sometimes as much as 5, sometimes 6 but 3 hours. So
Yeah.
take those hours, 3 hours a day, times 365 days. That equals 1,080 hours in 12 months. 1,080 hours of your free time that you're not getting.
Yeah.
Now, if you divide that by the hours in a day, 24, right? You get 45 days. That's how we got to the thing, right? So 3 hours a day, people with anxiety, fatigue, overwhelm, all the mix of burnout, physical and mental fatigue, is a minimum that they're spending and wasting every day. Minimum. That's 1,080 hours in the next 12 months. That's 45 days of your freedom gone. All while the momentum is going to that stat from Harvard and Stanford of lost lifespan.
Yeah.
Let
And
that,
it's
let
important
that,
to say,
yeah.
yeah, and it's important to say here, I love the Dalai Lama quote that says, we give up our health in order to get wealth, and then we give up our wealth to get back our health. And this really points to the thing that a lot of people who struggle with burnout are extremely passionate. They're extremely driven. They have a lot to offer the world. There's so much,
Well, they're high
talent
achievers.
and yeah, high achievers, so much to give. And, you know, but a lot of times we're chasing things that we don't really need to be chasing. Like, again, like I said, our priorities are all backwards. We're living in one of the richest countries in the world, and yet we have some of the highest issues of stress-related disease, right? So again, the wealth and the things and the stuff and the accomplishments and the accolades and the titles, a lot of times it's like we think that's what's going to make us happy and reduce the stress, so then we can relax after we achieve those things.
Right.
But that's not happening.
Right, exactly. So let's get into the process of fixing this, right? So we've got a couple. We're going to dive into the third, but real quick, I want to mention two things that need to happen before you even get to this big step that we're going to talk about. And the first one is you've got to realize that since burnout is a mix, right? So think of burnout as a big hairy beast, as LA likes to put it. And he's got a bunch of sidekicks running around like anxiety, fear, fatigue, and all that crap, right? These little villains are all running around. And you're in a 4x4 vehicle, right? But you're sitting in the back seat and they're all up front fighting for the steering wheel. Right. So 1 minute you're going left. No, I'm going right. Then upside you're crashing to a dumpster and some trash cans, and you're up on the sidewalk and shit. You're in the ditch, and it's like and you're in the back seat. It's your life. It's your car. It's your 4x4. But you have no control. So the first thing you got to do is you've got to take control of the wheel. Right. You got to get these guys. You got to tie them up. You got to throw them in the back seat. Number two, once you get control of the wheel, you've got to get out of Cope Town. You got to head to Conquer Island. What I mean by get out of Cope Town is you've got to stop coping. You've got to stop listening to all the crap out there. People telling you that you just got to manage your stress. You just got to learn how to cope better. And you've got to get out of Cope Town. You got to stop living there because you've been living there way too long. And you've got to get to what we like to call Conquer Island. So stop coping and start conquering. Now we're going to get into what we'd like to call the secret weapon, right? And Elliot, I love how you've been saying, society's been lying to us.
Yeah, I want to hit on that before we go into the one thing that they can do, because it's so important to remind yourself, the society's messages, they're constant, and a lot of times it's about not being enough, not capable. You need to get more. You need more, more, more. And so, a lot of us grew up with this idea that, we needed to work really hard and we have to do all of these things, and then we can relax, we can travel, we can take our time after we've retired. But people are working so hard that by the time they can stop working, they're so ill, they're not able to do the things that they want to do. So we want to remind you guys, society's lie can be really tricky. And, it's kind of like the key to happiness is to, work harder or climb the ladder.
Right. So it boils down to, right. Society tells us that you have to suck it up and just do all these things, be this way or that way in order to be a successful person.
Yeah.
And then once we hit whatever the hell the success point is, we get freedom. Freedom, happiness, fulfillment, all that stuff. But like you say, they keep sending us messages that not capable, not worthy.
Yeah, and the other thing too is this is one I think is so important for what's happening right now, which is that it's be your own boss. Right? It's easier than ever before to have your own company, to leave, your corporate world and start your own business. And it feels like, oh, if I'm my own boss, I'm going to have all this freedom and I'm not going to have all this stress.
Right. So the old way of doing things, right? Society tells us that the key to happiness is to, you want to go down the list?
Yeah. I've been cranking down the list. Go for it.
All right, crank. So the old way of doing things, the old way to hit happiness is to work harder, climb the ladder, right? Or as you say, suck it up, whatever the hell that means, right? And you just said be your own boss, right? Society keeps telling us that, we should just search the net and figure out how to fix our personalities. I love that one. Fix my personality, right? Or maybe just change careers. Move to a new city, because that's going to fix things. I can guarantee you, I've tried that 4 times. It does not fix things. It just makes burnout that much worse. Or maybe get some therapy. Yeah, because the short-term solution is to go out there and talk it out for an hour, just because that's a long-term solution. Or what I was always told, Adam, maybe you should stop. Maybe instead of Prozac, you should try Lexapro. Let's put more chemicals in your body so you can start having brain zaps. So you're not going to be depressed anymore, but you're not going to be happy either. You're going to be wondering why it feels like there's an electrode in your ear. Or some other ones are get the right apps on your phone so you can manage your time and productivity better. Or what about the date night? Ellie, tell us about the date night.
Well, again, we kind of laugh about scheduling date night, where there's nothing more romantic than, scheduling a date night right next to the dentist appointment or right after the dentist appointment, right? We're so busy that,
There's nothing like scheduling sex right after the DMV where you renew your license. just scheduling it. It sounds like, or society keeps lying to us and says, hey, just fake it until you make it. Right. So if you're walking around in frustrations but you're like, I'm just faking my way through, and you just know your foundation is crumbling, it's not working. Or I love this one. If you come from a corporate environment where that was my original background, think outside the box. That's really easy to do while you're trapped working inside one. Right. Or do more lunch and learns.
Yeah. The one that I hear on the web all the time, which I get. I mean, again, you'll hear me. I appreciate the whole effort of grinding it out and powering through. But again, when you're struggling with burnout, that's the worst advice ever. And so I keep hearing this, you need to stay up later. You need to get up earlier because, and I'm laughing because it's like, because those who are burned out, less sleep is exactly what they need.
Less sleep is what anybody needs, right? That's a quick way to some really complicated health problems. Of course, there's always exercise more, right? It's like you're just not doing the right exercise. You're just not working out your body enough, which is bullshit. Being healthy doesn't require movement, but exercise does not fix burnout. I can guarantee. I cannot tell you the number of clients in our program who are actually super fit who ended up in the hospital because of chest pains and panic attacks, right? From burnout. So just to let you know, exercise is not the solution. And my favorite especially as an entrepreneur, or if you guys are self-employed, or if you're running the division or managing a group of people, get out there and network like a boss. Because all of the shit and chaos is going to be so much better in an Italian restaurant getting wine drunk with people you don't even know.
That networking can lead to too much networking can.
So Ellie, what happens when you keep doing it the old way?
Well, really, it's just kind of hope and pray advice. I mean, you're again just piling on so much stuff that you must do or achieve or be before you can feel happy, before you can feel fulfilled, and really before you can take a break, get outside, whether it's take that vacation or trip or just giving yourself like a weekend.
When you when you do it the old way, it has you frustrated, it has you exhausted, using a bunch of superficial gimmicks and bullshit, honestly, and waiting for something outside of you to come in and save the day. Waiting for something outside of you to come in and save the day.
Yeah.
And like Elliot says, it's hope and pray advice. Guys, this is cross your fingers living. It does not work. And if it did, we wouldn't have a burnout epidemic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And those are just a few, kind of a few examples of some stuff that, kind of had us.
So Elliot, what's the new way? And tell them about the new way.
Yeah, so the new way is really just to build a superhero identity. Okay?
A superhero now pay attention, guys.
Identity really replaces all that chaos and craziness, with a really, really simple process.
Right. So building a superhero identity is the most powerful way to kick butt at work, reconnect with your spouse with positive impact on a whole new level, and have the free time to get out of the office while you feel confident and energized. Yeah. And you don't have to do any of those things. You don't have to do any of those things we just talked about. And you can replace the superhero identity, replaces it with a super simple process. Elliot, tell us about the process.
All right. So the process, first step, is to move boldly. So this means, stop reacting, stop chasing things, stop doing things that you think you're supposed to do, and just really go into a fix mode and asking yourself, what do I need in my life to fix this problem? What do I need in order to ensure that I get the free time that I want? Because again, the old adage, it's like you only live once, right? Your time here is precious. So I'm not saying you have to quit your job or quit your marriage or whatever it is, but it's just really asking yourself, it's time for you to take charge of your time.
Right.
It's time to get clarity.
Right. The easy answer is quit my job, or get divorced and move to a new city. Like I said, that doesn't work. This is all about taking charge, getting clarity, and taking the right action fast. You must move boldly in the right directions for the right reasons if you want to quickly level up your life. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm. So move boldly. It's a really, really, really simple concept. It's a simple idea that can stick in your head. What's the
next step?
So the next step is think different. So to build this superhero identity, to really solve that problem, you've got to create an identity that can really fix it, because you can't change your life with the same mindset that you've had that's gotten you into this place. So again, it's really about understanding that you've got to start thinking differently. You've got to start creating that person who is going to get you what you want. This is really, really key. And it's about a bulletproof mindset. And I want to make sure everybody understands that thinking different, I'm not just trying to say think positively, okay? Because when you're super burnt out, like thinking positive or being all cheery and optimistic, you just kind of like want to throw that against the wall because you're frustrated and you're pissed off and you don't feel well. So it's really important to understand that it's about thinking different. This is thinking resourcefully. Right?
Positive thinking, guys, is obsolete. Positive thinking is a coping mechanism and does not actually fix the problems.
Yes.
Right? I just want to highlight that. Because I heard that shit, God, for 20 years, and all the self-help books and all the friggin', I'm going to age myself, tape cassette collections on programs that have like the 10 cassettes and you listen to them, or the CD. Then they got in the CDs and they got in some other stuff. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, and again, I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong with being optimistic or positive, but again, when you're in the space that you're in, you're going to cringe at that idea. It's not going to serve you. You're going to try to think positive, and every ounce of you inside is going to be like, that's crap. You're going
right.
to, you're going to be saying something that you don't really mean. And then the third piece
The third
is
step.
to smile more.
What does that mean? Does it really
Yeah,
mean just
so-
walk? No, this is not about fake grins, okay?
Yeah.
This is not about powering through, going into the boardroom in a meeting and going, oh, I've got this. That's not what
Grin
this
and bear
is.
it.
No,
Grin
no.
and bear
What,
it,
yeah. What the third step? Smile
Well,
more.
this really alludes to what I started with about priorities. This is really about getting your priorities in alignment and order, because when you start creating this superhero identity that we talked about, moving boldly, thinking different, it's going to help you reintegrate your career, your relationships, your life, and you're going to show up differently, and you're going to end up blowing people's minds. And of course, you're going to be smiling a whole lot more because you're actually like enjoying your life, you're liking what you're doing, and it's really again, like I said, making sure that you're putting your energy into things that really fuel you. So I like to say, one of the most important things, I mean, if you take anything away from today, it is where you put your energy is the difference between happiness and burnout.
That's huge. Where you put your energy, guys.
Energy.
So that's the crumblings of the 3-step process to build the superhero identity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once you understand that process and you get it moving, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're efficient, you're confident, you're capable of getting the time you want to unplug and experience life. And guys, that sounds good, right? I mean, that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's your impact. Your impact is what should be getting you out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
And if you're not impacting and kicking ass, the truth is you're not feeling good. You're stuck there in Cope Town, trying to just deal and manage with stuff. But
Yeah.
when you do, but when you do get that right, all of a sudden your relationships with your colleagues and your career you start leading. All of a sudden things at home start getting better. But before you can get the freedom and energy you crave, right? They've got to work on their inside game.
Yeah.
Because who you are now in your career, your marriage, and how you feel now is very different than where you want to be. So Elliot, how do they take it to the next level?
Yeah, so the first thing is really about peak performance. So it's really about understanding what are the habits and the skills and the routines that you need to put into place in order for you to be able to just kick ass every day so that your life feels like, it's firing on all cylinders and you're just, you feel dynamic, right?
Everywhere.
But you need to figure out what are those routines? What do you need to put into place?
Exactly.
Now, the second thing, Adam, I'll let
2.
you take that one. Yeah.
Right. The second one, my favorite, is you develop a new mental motorcycle jacket that gives you brand new confidence in yourself. It's all about attitude. It's the power to sail through stress. It's the power to say no to garbage. And it's the power to enjoy more of what's good. You show up leading the way and people say, what? Where did you come from? Where have you been? I love it. Right? That's number 2. Mm-hmm. Elliot, what's number 3?
Number 3 is really all about changing your physical appearance, changing something on the outside of you so that you can really feel like there has been
what she means by outside, she doesn't mean, over there. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
I need, if they would just help me more, things would get better. That's not what she means. What she means is this is
your physical appearance that really, marks that inside change really on the outside. So that's really, really important because when you do that, it really helps bring the whole superhero identity together, giving you a new badass you with new capabilities,
right.
New mindsets, new everything.
And you feel totally different. So the first step is to reach peak performance. the skills,
Yeah.
habits that you're doing every day. Number two, develop that new get that mental motorcycle jacket going. That gives you confidence in leading and showing up, and you're just dynamic. Number three is getting a new look, right? So you're feeling different every minute that you're awake. And then finally, what's the third step in building that new superhero identity? Number four.
Well, really, it is, understanding that, you can, instead of choosing stress, instead of choosing bad stress, you can choose good stress. Now, I want to give you an example of this. So, I don't know if any of you guys have heard of Rich Roll, but
Hold on. Before we go into Rich, the fourth step is building a new badass you.
New badass you, yeah.
It's building a new badass you with new beliefs and capabilities that you can absolutely get what you want.
Yes.
So, Rich Roll really excites Elliot. If you've ever seen a picture of this guy, you'll understand why. Not when he was burned out. When he was burned out, he was like, I'm just a fat, successful attorney burning out. He couldn't even go up a flight of stairs. Elliot, you tell the story. I'm going to see if I can find that picture real quick.
Yeah. So I feel like Rich Roll, he really embodies that fourth step. Like Adam said, he was successful. He was an attorney, but he was overweight, he was miserable, and he was he's about to hit his 40th birthday, and he just decided that he had had enough. And so he basically created a superhero identity that he wanted to step into. He became a badass Ultraman, and he basically said, I'm changing my priorities, I'm changing my life. And like I always like to tell people, again, this is what we suggest is not just about physical exercise, but again, that confidence and ability to say, I'm going to step into this new person, and that's who I'm going to become.
All right, guys. So the picture on the left is Rich Roll, right around his 40th birthday, when he was super successful as being an attorney, but he had gained so much weight. He was doing drugs and some other things to cope with everything, and he actually could not make it up a flight of stairs. He had that much fatigue. He could not make it up his 5 stairs. That was 40. Now the picture on the right, badass superhero Rich Roll, is now one of the top endurance athletes in the world at 45 years old. So he adopted the superhero identity, and he said, this is who I want to be, and this is what I want to step into, and he made it happen. And again, this is not about fitness, right? This is about taking on a whole new identity and achieving what it is you really want to be.
Yeah. And giving yourself permission to do that. Like you said, like, this is what I want. This is who I can be. This is who I'm committed to being. And really asking yourself the big question, which is why we did this live today, which is, what would you do with 45 days of freedom? What would you do if you decided, I'm going to change things, I'm going to adopt my superhero identity, and with that, I'm going to create the freedom that I want? Because one of the biggest things we hear from people, when you're struggling with stress, burnout, and all the crap that comes with it, it's like, yes, you want to stop the immediate pain of the symptoms that you're having, but ideally, too, you want the freedom from that. You want
Right. So ask, what could you do with 45 days of freedom? And I'm not talking about freedom. I'm talking about energetic freedom. You've got it together. Things are firing on all cylinders everywhere. What would you do? Would you get outside and explore the outdoors? That's what we love to do. That's our thing. Would you make a career move? Would you go for that promotion? Would you change your careers? Would you level up your business? What would you do with the 45 days of like concerted, focus, clear, crystal clear, drive, ambition, motivation? What would you do? How would that impact your family?
Yeah. And again, look back to what we said at the beginning of this live where, if you're wasting, there's probably at least 3 hours in your day that are being wasted on either activities or things that you have to do that really are not that important, or you're spending them coping, trying to manage all your stress, trying to feel better so that you can work more. Remember, 3 hours a day, just 3 hours a day, adds up to 45 days in a year.
Right. And so, guys, I want to just kind of impact here on what's really going on out in America. I mean, right now, 1 million people won't go to work today because of burnout. Right? Every 13 seconds, there's a divorce because of stress. Every 2 seconds, there is a contractual business lawsuit filed. And the reason I'm saying that are because of low productivity. And most people with careers who are suffering with burnout end up getting sued at one time or another. And we know this because it happened to us, because you're not performing up to expectations of the other people. You're not performing up to the contract or whatever's happening or whatever's going on. Think about that. And the average cost of a contractual business lawsuit is $54,000 per side. The average cost of a divorce is between $25,000 to $45,000. And that's just for like a 2-day trial. That doesn't even, if it's contested and there's custody battles and all that stuff with kids and everything.
Yeah.
The cost of coping for the average professional out there is, what is it, Ellie? It's $25,000?
It's about, the average.
The average cost? Mm-hmm. And then there's the time loss, right? The 45 days that you're not getting. And what's really insane here is that people are actually paying to have a shorter, crappier life, because it's been proven that people are living a lot less. And by the time of burnout and by the time they die, there's no quality of life there. Yeah, they're working, and yeah, they might be achieving some things, but are they really getting what they want? And the answer is no, they're not.
Yeah.
Let that sink in, guys. Let that sink in. On the time that we've been together today, hold on, let me see if I can calculate this real quick. Let's see here. Roughly about 35 to 37 minutes or so, right? And we have, yep. Hold on. I got my calculator here. Let's see. Okay. So let's see. There we go. All right. About 207 marriages just got ripped apart. 900 professionals got sued. And for 9,450 people, their lives just burned out for good. That is not what we want for you. We would rather help you build a superhero identity.
Yeah.
And Elia, how can they become a superhero?
All right. So becoming a superhero, it's really all about having accountability. It's about having a mentor. It's about having a community of people. And so we want to invite you to, have a chat with us. If what we've said today has really hit home for you and you're really struggling and you're ready to make that drastic change, and you want something more for your life, and especially, for us, a big part of our mission is we know that everyone has an amazing impact that they want to make for their families, for their careers, for the world. And it's really tough to do that when you're drowning in stress. So right. if you're ready to, do something about that and to get some support, we absolutely invite you to book a free 45-minute call with us. You just go to movethinksmile.com/talk. Mm-hmm. And when you go there, you'll be given a calendar page. You can find a time that works for you. And again, the most important thing for you to understand is that, this is an opportunity for us to get to know you and vice versa. And if you decide that, you want our help, then and you're a good fit, then we are happy to discuss how we can make that happen for you.
Absolutely. Guys, look, we've given you the process. You've got to take control of the wheel. You got to get out of Cope Town, head to Conquer Island, train yourself to become a superhero, get that new identity so you can reverse the momentum of your life and not become one of those stats that are becoming the status quo and acceptable in today's modern age. It's crap. It's crap. No one has to live that way. We don't live that way. We decided not to do it. And that's why we came up with Move, Think, Smile. It took us a long time to figure out the exact strategies to get there. Now, if you're having a hard time and you want some help, and the ideas, if you've got certain beliefs about yourself, you've got to really look at the quality of your ideas, right? Is the strategy you're using getting you to that superhero identity? Is it actually creating the impact you want at work? Is it creating the impact you want at home? And is it actually getting you the free time to get outside and have some fun? And if it's not, please come over to movethinksmile.com/talk. Schedule a call. You're going to talk with either Elliot or myself, and it's free. It's about 45 minutes, and we're going to look at really what exactly it is you want your home and work life to look like, and exactly the strategies and steps you can take to move forward with that. And, if we're a good fit, we can talk about that. And if we're not a good fit, that's cool too. It's not a big deal. But go over to movethinksmile.com/talk. And Elliot, do you have any other parting words other than go check out her training? The link's above. It's really good. It goes into a lot more detail than we went in today.
Yeah, no, I would just say that, if anything really struck you that we said today, be sure to put it into the comments. If you have questions now or if questions pop up later, again, you can post those questions here in the group. You can private message us if you would like. We are here for you, so feel free to reach out.
Right. And guys, if you're listening to this on YouTube or our podcast, please come over to the Facebook group Burnout to Badass. We're the only Burnout to Badass people on the planet that I'm currently aware of. We're pretty easy to find. You can type in Burnout, you can type in Badass, we should pop right up. It is a closed group. We do evaluate everybody that makes a request to join. We do not let everybody in. So we do our best to filter out the BS. We do our best to filter out the spam. We do our best to filter that out. And if we find it, we boot them out right away. So it's a very safe group. It's a very private group. There's a lot of people in here who are all striving to get to the same place, to achieve peak performance in their life so they can get outside and hit the national parks, hike, travel, walk new cities, do the sports activities and stuff that they love to do. Yeah. So guys, that's Elia Fasheron. I'm Adam Von Enns. Come over to movethinksmile.com/talk. We would love to chat with you. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Bye, guys.